Good Sunday afternoon, everybody. This is April the 19th, 2020. And you know, one day this week I was at the store and I saw a friend of mine, and he said that he was going to his father-in-law's house and they were going to have some beans and cornbread and all the fixings. Well, that made me so hungry for that, so that's what we're having for supper today. Now, you know, I love my beans and cornbread, and I've always liked beans and cornbread, fried potatoes, and sauerkraut. But today I'm making some cabbage instead of sauerkraut. Now I'm going to fry it. Now it's been a while since I've sauteed some cabbage, and I'm going to put some Polish sausage in it. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm hungry for that, and I've already got my beans. Now let me tell you about my beans. Now last night, when I put them in a crock pot, let it cook overnight, I cut up some bacon. Just bacon out of the fridge. Just take it out and of the pack, and just about 3 or 4 pieces of bacon, and I just snipped it with some scissors in here and let it cook along with the beans all night, and it's really, really good. Now I don't salt my beans until they are through cooking. To me, if I put the salt in there at the beginning, it just makes them too crunchy, and I don't want crunchy beans. I want some good, nice and tender beans. Now I use Great Northern beans and pinto beans mixed together, and I put them on. I go through and make sure there ain't no rocks, no dirt. Wash it. Put them in a pot on the stove, let them cook for about an hour or so, and then transfer them, liquid and all, into the crock pot. Let it cook on low all night. And I've showed it to you a few times before. It's worth showing it to you again. Now, this is a head of cabbage, in case you don't know what cabbage looks like. Now, it has outer leaves. Now, when I was a kid, my grandma and grandpa grew cabbage, and they made their own sauerkraut, and I love sauerkraut. But like I said, I'm going to try something. I'm going to saute it in some butter and some olive oil. Now, I've already got my pot on the stove, and I've got some olive oil and butter in there. And I'm going to show you how to, in case you don't know how to cut up cabbage, this is what I usually do. Now, the outer leaves, I'm going to take the outer leaves off. You can, eat them if you want to, but I usually take mine off. Okay, take a couple of 3 or 4 of the outer leaves off. Okay, now this is the core, and you really don't want that. So make sure that you have a sharp knife, and make sure that the grown-ups use a knife, unless you're old enough to use one. Now, with my hand on the knife, I'm going to cut right down the middle of this head of cabbage. Okay. Now, you see this core right here is what you want to cut out. So, I'm going to try to cut it at a V, if I can. You can eat the core. Some people do. Let's try it this way. You want to get rid of that core. Okay, there we go. And for the sake of time, I'll keep that to the side. I'm going to cut. Okay, cut it right down the middle again, and I'm going to cut it again right here. All right, and I'm going to chop it into bite-sized pieces. Okay, now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to put it in this pot. I'm going to put the pot on about medium-high heat or so. I'm going to put all this in there, cover it with a lid, And what's going to happen is cabbage is going to shrink down. And what you want your cabbage to be tender, and I'm going to put some Polish sausage in there. So I want you to stay tuned. Alright everybody, welcome back. My cabbage is on the stove sauteing away. Now what you want to do is every so often remove the lid and use some tongs to stir the cabbage around, and every so often, and that way they'll cook evenly. And down towards the end, I'm going to add this. It's smoked sausage. You can use Polish sausage. You can use those little smoked sausages. Now, I'm going to make fried potatoes with onions. Now, I've not tried this in quite a while, but I'm not going to cook the onions and the potatoes together. I did that before, and I find that the onions they got done in a hurry, a lot quicker, more than, I'll get it out right here in a minute, got done quicker than potatoes. So I'm going to do it separate. I want to see how that does. Now, an onion, go right down the middle, make sure that you have a sharp knife, make sure that the grown-ups use a knife. Take that stem off. Okay, I got some butter and olive oil heated up. I want to turn it down to about a medium. Take the skin off. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half like that, and then chop it up. You want some good half-moon shaped pieces. Oh, and I about cut my finger, my thumb, but I didn't, thank the Lord. It's what happens sometimes. Okay, I'm okay. It's not bleeding or anything. All right, there you go. Now, this is perfectly fine right here, and thankfully I didn't cut myself, so that's good. All right, here we go. I'm going to put it in a separate pan with olive oil and butter, and I'm going to saute this till it's good and golden brown. Then what I'm going to do is, when my potatoes are through frying, I'm going to add the onions in there, and I'll show you here in just a few minutes what I'm talking about. So stay tuned. All right, everybody. My cabbage is done. Now you can tell here that it is good and golden. Now it's going to take about maybe 10 to 15 minutes for it to come out like this. And it looks really, really good, so it's ready to go. I didn't add any liquid to it whatsoever because the cabbage is going to produce its own liquid. Now, you want it good and caramelized like that, and I'm really thankful for how that turned out. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a little bit of apple cider vinegar to give it a tang. A little bit of salt. Now, you don't want to go overboard with the salt because the sausage that I'm going to use, it has salt in it. Some garlic powder, onion powder, okay? Now, I'm going to stir it up. Then I'm going to put the sausage in here. There you go. You got you some sauteed cabbage. All right. Now, I'm going to cut up the potatoes, and my onions are good and golden brown. That is what you want. Now, I'm going to cut up the potatoes, cook them in the same pot like I did the onions. I still got a little bit olive oil and butter here, and I'll probably add a little more. So I want you to stay tuned. I'm going to show you how to put the onions and taters together. Alright everybody, my fried potatoes are getting close to being done. You can tell that they're good and golden brown. And so I'm going to add the onions. Now these are the fried onions. Now, depending upon how much onions you would want in yours, you just use your judgment. Now, I'm going to put some garlic powder in here. Now I am going to, even though I got onions in here, I'm going to put a little bit of onion powder in here. Some paprika. And some salt. Now, I got sea salt here. You can use sea salt, kosher salt. I also found this pink Himalayan salt at one of them dollar stores for $1, and that's pretty good too. I'm going to have to get me some new pans. Alright. Supper's ready. So I want you to stay tuned. Alright everybody, supper is ready. Take a look. My fried potatoes with onions are ready, as well as the fried cabbage with sausage in it, cornbread, and my beans. I already said a blessing. I've already been nibbling. So here we go. Let's try out the fried taters with onions first. That's good. Might need a little bit more salt in it, but you can salt it according to your seasoning, according to your preference. Saute cabbage with sausage. That's good. By me sauteing the cabbage, that way it brought out the sweetness of it. So that's really good. Alright. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Keep those subscribers coming. Hope I get more and more views of the videos that I make. Have a blessed Sunday, everybody.